Welcome back, guys, and this one I'm actually gonna go on about trowels here. Plaster's most important tool is trowel. Basically, I was doing another video there on soundproofing a wall. It was a big plasterboard wall, and basically went through it, and it was a big long video, not long of me plastering the wall. And during it, I came up with the idea that some people may be better off when they're new to the trade to maybe getting second-hand tools, and this is what this video is going to be about. I'm going to go into a wee bit of detail into what to get, what not to get, and again some selections of, if you are even going new, why you might want to get that. Again, you know, a lot of it's personal preference, but most of this, sorry to all the real old school plasters, but most of this is going to be geared towards new to the trade or apprentices, and hopefully getting them a bit of a head start. So what I was saying there was, you know, it might be cheaper to buy some second-hand trowels off most likely a guy that's leaving the trade due to age or injury, or you know, maybe just found a better job for his family and for him. Maybe, you know, plastering's not for everyone, so you do get people coming out of the job and wanting to offload some tools, and again, it's going to be much cheaper to buy second hand than it will be to buy brand new. So what's going to be the difference between a second hand trowel and a brand new trowel? So, and I'm going to show you what not to buy if you're looking at them. You know, it'll be practically worthless as a plastering trowel. But basically, one, it's going to be cheaper. Second hand will be cheaper than brand new. So that's out of the way. But this will contradict it. A second hand trowel that's well broken in will actually be worth more money to you than a brand new trowel, especially at the beginning when you're learning the trade and you're trying to figure out how to plaster walls and how to get them lines out. You're going to want to, you know, you're going to want to try and avoid lines big time. Again, do all that in my videos. So yeah, I'll jump straight into what would be a good broken in trowel. And now obviously it can be any make, but the makes you're going to want is like Rafina, Ragnai, Tyzak, Spear and Jackson, Marshalltown, obviously, Neela. So they're the kind of big brands, and all of these brands are going to be, you know, they're going to be obvious on the trowel, so that you're not just buying something that was only a fiver for the guy originally anyway. You don't want to be doing that. So secondly, and we'll go into more detail on this, you can see that them corners are quite rounded, and just show you this. So sorry about that, but just show you this here. Look, that's a brand new trowel. I know it's a bit dirty, but that's a brand new Rafina trowel. And again, you know, somebody giving up the trade might still have a couple of brand new ones that they haven't even touched yet, but as you can see, quite square. But what that'll do is, when you're coming up the wall, it's going to leave you big lines on the wall. You know, if that was your wall, it's going to leave you line marks, and it's not really what you want. And just skimming, it would take you a long time to break a trowel like this in, and this one particularly is actually, you can see it's very narrow compared to the other one, and the reason for that is this is actually a sand cement rendering trowel. It's just for sand cement. You know, obviously you could skim with it and trowel up with it if you're really pleased, but that's why that's a bit narrow. And we'll touch a wee bit more on you know, what you might prefer as an actual plaster, and what might be easier on your arms, your wrists, your joints, everything. But yeah, so don't be put off by a rounded corner. Although I do try and keep my backs that bit square, and that would be for when I'm getting up into the corner of a wall to the ceiling, that I can actually get in there and keep it nice and square, and you know, clean it all. Whereas the front, you know, you'll go like that there, and then sometimes I just turn around to get the square end in, just to keep it nice and square. So I do try and keep my back square, but don't be put off by a slightly rounded edge. That can be a good sign. Second thing is make sure the bolt isn't too bad. Can you change the handle if you want, which is going to be a plus. Clean or dirty won't really matter, but what you'll want to do is look up the trowel, and you can see slight curves on it, and this one's actually trying to bend slightly the wrong way at the minute, but it's not too bad. And so basically when you look up it like that, you don't want it. It's good. Let me see. If you're looking up it like that there, basically what you want to see is just a slight curve like that. When you're looking up it, you don't want it going the other way. If the handle's here, that would be the slight curve you want. If the handle's here, that trowel's no good. That's going to leave you line marks, so that one's no good. Whereas if the handle's here and you're got a wee slight curve in it like that, that's okay. So if you are looking up them, that one's bad. You don't want one that's misshapen. That means the plaster in the middle isn't going to touch the wall, and the trowel's going to dig in top and bottom. And sometimes it can just bend at one side as well. So that's a trowel that's on its way out. This is a trowel that's still not so bad, because when you put pressure on the handle, this does tend to straighten out, and the plaster straightens out a wee bit. Obviously you don't want it as bent as that, but this is for a demonstration. Preferably pretty straight is what you do want with the handle. That would be okay too, but one that's got a wee slight curve in it, that's not out of your wanting to buy. That's still good to go. After that sort of quick test of looking up it, and you can check there too, that'll be the same. It'll be a slight curve in it. I think you can just make it out. You don't want them curved the wrong way. You want them curved up, and from the bottom up here. Sometimes if you set it down, you see that, but you wouldn't want it touching here and touching there, otherwise they'll just dig in. So the likes of that trowel, that's absolutely perfect for skimming, bonding, skimming, floating, everything. That's an all-rounder trowel. Again, it's stainless steel, that one. So the other thing to watch out for in a trowel that is about to go would be the rivets at the top. Now, some trowels are laser welded. Think Ragni, they're laser welded, so some of them trowels don't even have rivets. But if they do have rivets, rivets are what attaches the blade to the shaft here and to the handle then. And on a clean trowel you kind of can see the rivets, but what you don't want to see is this popping out or cracked. If it's popping out or cracked or lifting off here, sometimes it's hard to see on a dirty trowel, but if it's lifting off the stem, again, that's a trowel on its way out. And try not to set trowels like that, guys, because they're sharp. That's dangerous. Keep them down and safe. But so I think I've covered most of the main things there. The only other thing I'm going to say is that is important, and you might actually need to set it like that to test, but same with your thumbnail. Just gently feel down it. Now, I'm doing that because I'm checking, and sometimes you don't always feel it with your nail, but that one's nice and smooth and pretty sharp, but there's no nicks in it. You don't want any wee chips out of there, otherwise that'll leave lines and drags in your plaster, and it will not be no good. So that wee nail test could also save you buying a bit of a dud trowel. Some people might also be selling their trowels because they're no good, not just because they're getting out, but you could touch lucky. There's probably as much people leaving plastering and retiring plastering than there is getting into it. So I think that's covered what a good trowel would be, guys, and what a bad trowel would be. So things you won't want to get there is covered. So really it'll be down to certain things like knuckle clearance. This is another Ragni, and again it has a bit less knuckle clearance. The other thing you might want is flexi trowels. Now, flexi trowels are a lot easier damaged, so you really will have to inspect them. But all the same rules will apply to that. But flexi trowels should be a lot cleaner because they're only used at the end. And if you can get any trowel guards off whoever's selling, just pick them up too, because they help keep the nicks off. This trowel here I've had for quite a long time, so even if somebody has had a trowel for 5 years, it might last another 5. Don't be panicking about that. And again, if you're getting a good deal, even if a trowel's out of shape, you might want to just pick it up for a floor scraper, that way. I think you can see that one's kind of bent at the top. I think it took a drop or something. And the difference between stainless steel and ordinary steel, basically, carbon steel, it will rust. This is quite a thick carbon steel. Most times carbon steel is very, very flexible. Stainless steel is not quite as flexible. There's a wee bit of flex in it, but it wouldn't be quite as flexible as a real good carbon steel one. Again, sizes narrower are mostly good for rendering because it allows more pressure onto actually pushing up on the wall. And then sizes, that's a small trowel, absolutely excellent for around the tops of doors, things like that. But again, these will all be handy. Having more than one trowel is what you do want. But like I say, knuckle clearance, you might not be able to pick too much if they're second hand and the guy might just be doing a big bundle. But again, you could these are good haggling things, and the time it'll save you, troweling up at the start when you're an apprentice or something. This will be absolutely, it'll be life-saving, life-changing. If I could go back and maybe try and look out for some second-hand ones or something, or again, if you're just plastering a wall, if you have a mate that's a plasterer, take a lend of his trowel, but look after it. If he gives you a good trowel, look after it. Don't get it nicked. Keep it really clean. In fact, give it back cleaner than what you got it. Even if it's a rusty one, give it a good cleaning before you hand it back. Again, any questions, anything I missed, drop it in. Anybody who's a pro plaster that's been at it for years, let me know your tips and tricks as well. Anything I missed or anything I can go over in a future video. Even I might do another one in the future about the differences of the trowels and things. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful.